Hey team, how you doing? Ray here and here for MotoNZ, and in this video, finally, we are going to try and connect the Sena Meshport Red to the Sena 50S and the GoPro Hero 12. Now, apologies, my garage is very messy, but we're going to give this a crack. Usually, also, I do a little bit of research into how to do this before I create a video, but not this time. It's rough, it's ready, it's raw, and you're coming along for the ride. Let's do this. Okay, let's dive into the box and see what's in the Meshport Red box, eh? Okay, we have instructions. We have Meshport Red, we have antenna, we've got a mount of some description, we've got a USB-A to USB, oh it's micro USB, oh crikey, check that out, oh that's painful. Wait, before we go any further we need to know what Meshport Red actually is. Meshport Red is this Bluetooth device that's made to bring other communications equipment into a Sena mesh communications group, like tablets or GoPro Hero 12s, I guess. Sena have obviously seen that, you know, there's people that want to bring other things into this environment. This sort of thing would be the sort of thing that's, and the reason why this is made is to put on a headset in the pits, so the team manager can tell the person on the bike out in the track whether they go faster, slower, or come in for tyres. That's essentially what this was made for. That's me putting words in Sena's mouth. They haven't told me that, but that's what it is. Full disclosure, when the GoPro Hero 12 was announced and released, I got one, and I did a test connecting the GoPro Hero 12 to the Cardo Packtalk Edge and Neo for motovlogging, essentially. Sena saw that video, reached out to me and said, we've got a solution in this space, we'd like you to test it. They told me what it was, Meshport Red, and I said, well, it sounds fantastic, let's give it a crack. Bear in mind, I've been a Cardo user for a long time. They said, no worries, we'll send it to you. Tell us what you think, make a video or two. So that is what I'm doing. No money's changed hands. They just sent me the kit and said, it's cool, try it. Okay, this is Meshport Red. The idea is this is a mesh communicator with a Bluetooth channel. You Bluetooth this to the GoPro Hero 12. You put this on your mesh communication with you and your buddies all running Sena units, and this records the entire conversation to the camera. Disappointed just a little bit to see that we're still running a micro USB. Micro USB. I was kind of happy when the last thing in my setup running micro USB died and I could replace it with something else, but we will crank out the micro USB cable, plug it in and power it up. Okay, a little red light is on. I wonder if I can use this while it's charging. There wasn't really anything in the instructions on how to use it. None of that's in English. Safety precautions. Yeah, cool. Warranty period, battery. No. Okay. So, it appears that if you don't know, you don't know how to use Meshport Red. So, we've been told by the instructions to download the Sena Meshport app. So, we'll do that now. Sena Meshport, get. Open. Would like to use Bluetooth. Okay. Yep, that's the quick start guide. Oh, here we go. Meshport Red DFBE. Channel 1. Cool. Well. Meshport Red. So that might be paired. Okay, so the GoPro is paired to something. I think the GoPro is paired to the Sena, the Meshport I should say. So the GoPro is now recording on connected to the Meshport. Open mesh channel 1, which is what the Meshport Red is on. So can you hear me? You can hear me, but can you hear me? You might be able to hear me. Wow. Once we get our head around how this works, that might actually be the most simple thing in the world. It works. Can you believe it? Right, let's fire everything back up. We'll turn the Meshport Red back on. I'm on mesh channel 1. That's on mesh channel 1. And I have a microphone logo. Okay. Meshport Red connected to this GoPro Hero 12. I'm going to put that on the shelf. Sena 50S on mesh channel 1. Meshport Red on mesh channel 1. That's all going to stay there. And you are coming for a walk. And if I keep talking, hopefully the microphone in here is being sent back there. And that GoPro, when we switch to it right now, is audio and video all wirelessly. And that also means that anyone else with a Sena unit on mesh channel 1, open mesh, will be recorded on that camera. Fingers crossed. So usually I like to think of myself as across most of the tech in the motorcycle world, most of this sort of stuff. But to be honest, I never even heard of Sena Meshport Red before. I don't even know if it's available in New Zealand or how much for. But we need to go for a ride and test this out. Okay, thoughts so far on the Sena 50S and Meshport Red. Downsides. Sena 50S, it's huge. And the way that it's designed leaves less options for mounting to helmets. It makes it trickier. If I'm going to compare it to Kato, which I will, the Kato Packtalk Edge and Neo are easier to install. More options for installing, clamp mount or sticky mount, and the design of this mount on the side here means that, you know, there's not many places where you can put that on a helmet. There are a lot of helmets that won't go on where the Kato is easier. I don't want to rip it to shreds because I think they've done a great job, and they've been really good to send this stuff to me for free. I think the app for Sena is easier to use. You've got more functionality, but there are less settings in the kit. There are less settings and audio customizations, I guess you call them, for the Sena 50S. It sounds fine out of the box, but I think you've got more flexibility with the Kato setup. The Harman Kardon speakers, they sound fine. I really think it just comes down to ease of installation, and I think the Kato system is easier. Otherwise, they both do what they say on the box. Kato has been making a lot of noises lately about making it easier to connect Kato to Sena and vice versa. Their solution does make it easier, but it's not a permanent fix. It's a band-aid. It's the sort of thing you'll do once every couple of years because you want to go for a ride with a specific group of people that don't have the same kit as you. And then there's still, 100 yards. What's that? That's not very far. And then it disconnects. It spends time reconnecting, and then it won't reconnect. And then, I know when it reconnects, my group's not going to stop for me to reconnect. It drops out. You get sick of it. You end up riding on your own, at least in your own helmet with no communications. So it's good, but I don't think it's good enough. If all your mates ride with Senas, use Senas, then I still think the answer is to get what your mates have got. Because if you've got 5 mates with Senas and you get a Kato, it's going to be awkward to connect and you're just not going to use it as much. the same goes the other way. If all your mates ride with Cardo, then definitely get a Cardo, because they work well in their own ecosystem, better than trying to bring the opposite brand in. I used to say Cardo was better. I think Cardo was better in some things. I still haven't seen any information about the Sena 50S that they sent me being waterproof, which makes me worried, because I know my mate Matt over at onthrottle.co.nz, he had one, he rode through a storm and it malfunctioned, and he had to take it home, put it in a bag of rice and put it in the hot water cupboard to dry it out. Admittedly, it came right after that, it was fine, and it still runs to this day, but I've never, ever had problems with water ingress in a Cardo. That makes it hard, because the Cardo's waterproofing makes it a better unit in my eyes. I can ride all day, any day. It doesn't matter what the weather's going to be, and I can have faith that it's going to be fine. Where if I have 5 mates, none of them have comms, and we all want to fit out with the same thing and record our ride, this is a really good solution. Looking at the opposite unit, the other way with Cardo, if you wanted to do that, you'd have to get a 6th Cardo unit, plug in the headphone jack into the input on the camera, which means with a GoPro you need a studio mod and cables to record wirelessly. That's about the only way to do it, unless you hit record on the Cardo app, and that records the entire group. But then you've got to sync up the audio independently of the video in post-production, which is fine for me, but I don't imagine Barry, who's not into content creation and just wants to do the thing, I don't imagine him using it. So I'm still very conflicted. I don't know the answer. I think the answer is, what have your mates got? I need a comms unit, what should I get? What have your mates got?